Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show. Going around the table, we have our players, starting with Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I play Thaddeus, the human paladin of the Sanahan.
I am Kay. I play Harmony, who is a tiefling wild magic sorcerer.
I'm Melissa, and I play Mara Stormwind, who is a human pirate.
I'm Zach, and I play Hunter, who's a Warforged fighter.
I thought about interrupting you again.
Still a phantom!
Let's see. We stream on Twitch every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then post those episodes to YouTube the following Wednesday. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items and even a custom wild magic table. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go ahead and I will tell you about more information in a minute. I'm still trying to say that earlier, even though it's not written in the announcements in the same place. Music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and Compotech. If you're watching us on Twitch, you can check the channel page for links and info. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can check the video description. So that's where you can find the information about the music and about the custom items and things like that. Then, if you're still interested in more information, you can follow us on Twitter at Antiheroesanon. And if you missed that just now, you can check the video description or the Twitch channel page for that information. We also have a new set of character bio cards up in the top right corner, covering the map cam until we need it. So you can check those out for a brief overview of the characters, which is cool. And yeah, before we get into a recap, just thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. So, what's been happening? The Eyes of the World, this mysterious and evil group of mages who the party has had conflicts with in the past, took the divination wizard Leah Moonbrook, who the party had been defending. They took her on the day of the gala, honoring Thaddeus' father, and his ascension from Baron to Noble. From Baron to Duke, along the noble hierarchy. At the gala, the group met some old friends, including Dawn, who turned out to be the princess of the country of Freydin, as well as Gavin Hammerlock's fiancé. Shock! Yes, that was a big reveal.
What a dick!
Harmony then made an alliance with Bree. Mara managed to charm Zilpip Thimblefoot and pickpocket his comb and then put it right back.
That was really funny.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
Need a mage hand for that one.
Meanwhile, Hunter and Mandus watched for signs of the Eyes of the World, with basically keeping a watch on everything. During all of this, Thaddeus warned Yin, the master of necromancy among the Assembly of Eight, that the Eyes of the World have been coming after the other members of the Assembly of Eight and trying to kill them. And then he offered the group's protection through the night. And so where we left off was the group here, plus Dawn, Aramil, Bree, and Ignatius, Dawn's group, plus Mandus, plus Morin, the fairy dragon.
Oh, right, I forgot all about Morin.
My little buddy.
I think that's everyone.
Mm-hmm.
This group of people, in Dawn's bedroom, sitting down to plan how they're going to defend Yin from the Eyes of the World. So to describe Dawn's bedroom, as we get into things, it's a room that is furnished as you would expect a princess's room to be furnished. It's comfortable, and there seems to be every possible amenity you could need. So like there's like a bar to the side of the room that has drinks and things laid out on it, and it looks like there's a pitcher of water on top of it that has ice cubes in it that are still not melted, so it's clearly been replaced recently. So this room is very clearly well serviced. However, it is furnished almost as if, like when you get a brief look around the room, it's furnished as if for a younger princess. Since Dawn has been gone away for a very long time, it looks like the room is maybe set up for someone around the ages of 10 to 12 or something like that. So you can see there are like boxes of stuffed animals that haven't been taken out, or things like that just indicate a younger woman than Dawn actually is.
I was going to ask about the ice cubes, but then I remember that the Misfit Enterprises is a thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's true. Also, there's magic. Sort of.
Not a lot of
In the
magic.
world.
Not a lot of magic
Yeah.
anymore, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty
so, Dawn has clearly asked some servants to bring in a whole bunch of chairs and a table. You can see that isn't probably a permanent permanent feature of the room, just because it's like sitting right in the middle. But there's chairs all around it. It looks like there's enough for everyone. And Dawn, Ignatius. No, who would already be sitting there? I think it's just Dawn. Dawn is sitting at the table as the rest of the whole group comes in, and she just says, "Ah, welcome. I've had the servants draw up a table and bring in some chairs, so if you'll sit down, we can go ahead and get started."
Excellent.
The one thing I just remembered, did you bring Yin with you?
I think we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
We waited
that's
for him to
standing-
come back,
That's
right?
for
And
standing
then
right
we
next to
all
you.
went together.
Okay, so Yin is there
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
That's the one thing I wanted to double check. I'll get some music and you guys can start talking.
I want to sit next to Yin.
Okay. I mean, yeah, this table's still wide open except for Dawn, who's sitting at sort of like the head of it.
Are all the chairs the same?
Or are they for like
Are
a
they
12
like
roll?
taken from different parts of the castle? Like different...
They look like they're a matching set of some sort of nice dark wood, and they have very, fancy kind of dainty cushions on the seat part, and then also at the very top of the back.
Okay.
I'll go sit next to Dawn on the side that Bree is not probably already at.
Yeah, Bree is like just pushing her way across the room, and like takes the spot right on the right side of Dawn.
I'll sit next to Bree on the other side.
Okay. I'm not gonna draw out a table layout
Yeah.
like the,
Seating order?
like
Seating
the
order.
Hammerlock dinner, but
But
you
it's
guys
just,
can pretty
you know,
much
that,
sit
like,
where you want.
That like Hunter is next to you and like you're next to Bree.
Mm-hmm.
Or is there anyone you want to sit next to in particular?
Not especially.
Okay.
I might hover a while. Or
You,
I settle.
you want to dance a little bit more?
Still.
Still in the party.
Let's just say I have the
Still
bank,
being-
so. Where's Morinth sitting?
Morinth sits on Mandus' shoulder, wherever Mandus ends up sitting. Maybe at the foot of the table.
Is he still invisible?
Morinth? No, as Mandus comes into the room and shuts the door behind everyone, the yellow scaled dragon comes into view. Just sort of like, it almost starts at like the middle of his body and works its way out towards his tail and his head. And so Mara, probably for the first time, Thaddeus as well,
Yeah, you probably didn't.
You
I
see
didn't know
this-
that it was there.
Yeah.
cat-sized.
That's right. You've never met him.
Yeah.
You see this cat-sized dragon with large butterfly-like wings of varying colors. And he's got these shiny and sparkly yellow scales that just cover his entire body, and he's sitting on Mandus' shoulder.
Aren't Ignatius's like yellow?
Ignatius are gold.
Okay, so they're similar but not the same.
Not the same.
And then Mandus goes and walks over and takes the seat at the foot of the table.
And Thaddeus like freezes up and says, "Is that with you?"
That's Morin.
Okay, so not a threat.
The dragon smiles very widely.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm not a threat to you.
not unless you care about the things that are in your pockets.
Traveling with you, I learned to stop caring about those things long ago.
Especially having me around.
And then Dawn speaks up and says, "So, we're here for a very important duty. If what you say is correct and the Assembly of Eight is being targeted, then Yin is one of the few remaining members.
One of the two.
One of the two.
So, we need to figure out what our plan is for tonight and beyond. Obviously, I can set up an appointment to speak with my parents in the morning, and in fact, I've already informed the servant to do so that should be taken care of.
Where is Welby, the other
Oh, right.
mage?
We don't
Well-
know anything about him.
Well, because oh, I don't have the voice. I lost it. Evil Kermit. Evil Kermit. Welby Tascabo. That's not it either.
You were like,
It'll work.
wow.
Well, it'll be Tascabo.
That's it.
That's it.
That's closer, yeah.
He's from a small village out in the country. And I suspect that if he's left the city, he's there. He tends to go back frequently. It says yeah.
Classic Welby.
You don't keep in contact with him?
No. As
Well, I guess considering
Said.
you didn't know about the fate of the others.
the assembly members tend to keep to themselves unless decisions are being made. It's very rare that two of us are in one place at a time.
What kinds of decisions?
That really depends on what the king and queen need advice on.
Wait a second. Well, I guess we need to decide where you're going to be kept.
Yeah, well, I have a room. All of the assembly members have a room in the castle. Whether they use it is their prerogative.
But that's where they'd expect you to be. So in theory, it may be the least safe place for you.
True.
Unless they think we're guarding him to double switch, and I think we take him out. He's safer in the castle.
I'm confused.
Yeah, she's right. That may be a good plan. You've got the seeming spell, right?
Yes?
Any one of us could be a decoy for Yen.
That's right. Once the door is closed, I'll drop the seeming spell.
Oh, okay.
That we were.
Yeah, let me think of who's in the room who'd be surprised. I think it's just Yin.
Yin.
Really. Dawn and Mandus
They
both know.
they knew who I
Lawrence
was. Yeah.
knows.
They've met him too. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just Yin, and Yin looks very shocked, especially, actually, more than to see you, to see
See both of us really. But
Hunter's appearance.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying right next to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'll
He
be like, oh yeah.
almost-
Speaking
he
of
like
which,
starts and like pushes his chair back a little bit.
phew, it feels good to not to have to keep that up anymore.
I was a little worried about bumping into someone.
I must say, now
I'm like
a
whipping
little
my
bit
tail around a lot.
more confused than I was. Who are you people, anyways?
We're your only hope in the city. That's
yes,
who we are.
That's what Mr. Hammerlock over there informed me.
Sir, Murloc, please.
Oh my god.
If you're going to be picky,
Really?
yes, Sir Hammerlock, of course.
Sir Hammerlock.
I think you had the conversation last week where you asked what you should call him, and he said, as
Students would call him
noble and
Master.
assembly members, they don't necessarily need to worry about that. But if you're being picky about it, he'll
That's
respect
always
it.
worries about that.
Anyway, what were we talking about before? Oh
Protect
yeah,
it.
the seeming spell.
Right.
You had an
De-
idea.
Decoys? One of us could decoy.
I mean, you've seen what happens when we split up.
Well, I mean, the other problem
People
is that
die.
It's true.
I think the main problem is that if we work on the defensive, we're working against an indefinite time period. From any time from now to when natural causes would take us is when they could take him away.
I
I
could,
agree.
But
well,
so
the
we need to work
seeming
away.
Spell, yeah.
Well, we need to work away and turn the tables so we can actually.
Why don't we set a trap and draw them here? Is it a good defense? The castle has good defenses?
And the castle has excellent defenses.
I mean, that is one of our goals, is
Well,
to...
Kill the odds. It's
Leah
on the
gave
agenda.
you that thing, right? That scrying thing. So you
It
could
sure is.
technically. I mean, Wen is gone, but you met the mind flayer,
Core.
the Illithid. You
Yeah.
could try to scry on him,
Yeah, we know his name. We know what he looks like.
try and figure out where he is.
And the what is it, the holder guy?
Right,
No.
not the thingy that I banished.
Yes.
Yeah. Did we get its name? I don't know.
They did call out
He
its
did.
name.
So-
It's Braxis.
Braxis. That's right.
Anyone who's... Harmony, are you the only one trained in Arcana?
I think so.
Go ahead and make an Arcana check. One. Okay.
So 7,
7.
but 1.
Yes, you know that the scrying spell will allow you to peek in on them. You also know that Leah Moonbrook was having trouble.
Yes.
But that's about all you
So I
recall
did say
on the
try.
But did she know their names? We never told her the specifics, I don't think.
No, I don't know that she did know their names.
Yeah.
Well, and if we have something that once belonged to them, that would be
So-
easier too, right?
I don't know about the
You
scrying
have-
spell.
You have.
Kuor's robe, I believe,
Yeah, that's true.
We have.
from when he descended Kuor.
Yeah, we did take
Yeah.
those rooms.
Yeah, we have his robe.
How
that
much
should
do
make
you
it
need to
easier.
know about somebody to scry on them properly?
I think you just need to know who they are, and it helps if you have something that belonged to them.
Okay. So if you know their name,
Yeah.
so we
I
know.
mean, if their name is the only thing you know about them, that makes it harder.
Yeah.
So the
But
things
we've
that
met before. We've fought.
So we have the letter that specifies Orin, who's apparently the
You're
chief.
thinking about scrying on
Here's the
Well, I'm just saying that's one name.
here's the list of things you got from the pile.
So to get any sort of bonus from knowing the person, you would have to be very familiar with them, as in having met them several
Yeah.
times and knowing
So
quite a bit
just
about
knowing
them.
someone's name is generally.
So
okay.
that's not going to affect your chances at all. However, you do have the robe of Kuor's, which is a possession or garment. So using that as a sort of a component as you set up the scrying ritual will make it harder for them to resist it
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
by
So
a degree of -4.
you didn't have to tell us that.
I'm sure it's written somewhere.
So I mean, if you wanted to set a trap, I mean, we could scry and figure out where they are, at least where Kuor is. You might be able to spy on him for a bit and see what's going on.
What he plans to do. Who he's
Right.
after.
Right.
Um,
Right.
As you're talking about this, Yin interrupts and says, "I'm sorry, but I still don't have a particularly good grasp on who these people are who are supposedly coming after me. Perhaps we could start there?"
Have you ever heard of the Eyes of the World?
No.
Well,
We have one of their robes, right? You
We
pull
have
one of their
several.
robes
yeah,
out.
I have one.
I would say based on his...
Because he's pretty closed in, right? Like he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't know.
But we can
about
show
it.
him the robe and be like, "Have you ever seen anyone wearing this robe?"
Yeah, if you take that out, he looks at it, and he just sort of shakes his head. But I would like... You took the spot next to him, right?
Yeah.
Roll an insight check.
I got a 15.
He's... Like, he does shake his head, and he sits back, but when he looked at the robe, it's almost as if he didn't... Like, you can tell by looking at his eyes. It's like he didn't really look at it.
Oh, okay. And then so I'll show him like this is their symbol, and I'll put it like right in front of him and be like, here's this important part of it. No? Alright. So from his complexion, he does look like he's from the Elderhaven regions, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
The hands.
Now that you're up close to him, you can see that his complexion is somewhere in between a native of
That's why I wanted
Freedom
to sit
and
next to him.
somewhere... Huh?
I said that's why I wanted to sit next to him.
Yeah, somewhere in between a native of Freedom, the continent you're in,
Uh-huh.
which is sort of paler complexion, and someone from the Elderhaven reaches, which is slightly darker. Yeah, but he has like the trademark dark hair and darker eyes.
I see. Okay.
And I'll say to Dawn, like, you remember the Eyes of the World, right? Like, they had a lot of dealings with the Cranstons back in Ravenmoor. This is where we first
Yes,
discovered
as we were
who
going
they
through the Cranstons' estate, we found some records of dealings with a group.
And I'll
Called
pull up
the Eyes
like the ledger that we
Right.
have,
Right,
Pay,
similar to
payments
that
and
book.
such.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and then
So they're after something political,
well,
right?
I mean they're after
Do
a
we
lot
know?
of things.
They
so,
stole a
so
soul
the,
from a giant.
Okay, so if we want to go all the way back temporarily, this ledger was because they were trying to get research funding, and the Cranstons were allowing them to do research within their city limits, and then they had like to do stuff like this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
there was a note in the ledger which was basically next to
Yeah, I
one of
have
the
it.
payments from the Eyes of the World, and it
I don't
said
wanna look for it,
sort
though.
of ominously, "and more to come."
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so they were doing research. They were making Warforged.
Yeah.
If we know what that's what they're called. Making things like that.
I think in the research documents, when we had the design drawings,
Yeah, I think they're- we put a
temporarily, you
name
said
on
like
it.
Warforged there, so we
Oh,
probably
okay,
got that.
So we do know what
Yeah.
they're called.
And then we had to give them to them because we got ambushed. Yeah.
Now you all were ambushed, right?
I'm sorry?
By the Ice World recently.
Many times.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about after we met up with Mandus.
Yeah.
And Dream. That was Vise.
Yes.
Yes.
Was Gavin with them?
No.
I thought that because I'm a little bit confused about what happened in that episode. Like I know that Mara was talking to Gavin and
So she was in a separate place. She was
Yeah,
in
she
the
wasn't
Hammerlock
with us, yeah.
estate.
oh okay gotcha.
Yeah,
she
it
was
was just
kidnapped.
the two of us. That,
But it
that
did
were-
happen coincidentally at the same time.
Yeah, the timeline for that night is a little bit fuzzy because you know a Warforged brought you home.
Yeah.
You and
We woke
Hunter
up in
and
Ciel's
Harmony
shop.
woke up in Ciel's shop, tied up by Wen,
Yep.
and Mara woke up, not tied up, but in the presence of Gavin and
Yeah.
Mallory.
Wen had access to all of us, but some of us he chose to tie up, some of us he chose to deal with, and some of us he chose to carry away. And that seems odd to me.
It's
Well,
if we well, so
Wen,
if we
it
all,
wasn't necessarily Wen who took you back either, because
But-
there was an army of Warforged there.
but
Well,
he's
when I say-
associated with them.
When I say Wen, I mean Wen and his people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we were all in the same place, so they all would have had to identify us. And if it's so, I think it's too coincidental that we were all located.
Do you think
and
your
taken
family
away.
has some dealings with the eyes? Is that what you're getting at?
I do, and that was what I wanted to bring up, especially now that Dawn is here. There was something that happened a long time ago involving my father and Eric Whitecrest.
What does Eric Whitecrest person have to do with anything?
I heard this is when I was a young boy.
Okay.
I heard my father talking to Eric Whitecrest, and Eric said, "Are you sure about this? Because you know that making a deal with something like that is going to have a cost." And my father said, "Then we'll pay him, because an opportunity like this is too good not to pass up. Think of all the good we can do by taking this deal." And I never found out what that deal was or who it was with, but now I'm starting to have a good idea.
It would explain why he's suddenly getting promoted,
It would.
and why a Warforged brought you back to your place.
That's what I think too.
I don't understand what they're after.
I think, based on what you told me, Yin, this is what I think. They are after unrestricted access to the King and Queen. Because Yin was the one, and the whole Council of Eight, as you just said, were the one who advised the King and Queen on their decisions. Without them, anyone wanting the King and Queen's favor would have nothing in their way anymore. No one would block it, no one would check in on their credentials, nothing. That's my theory.
But then what are they getting from your father?
Dawn speaks up and says, "It could also be that they merely want control.
Good.
Now that
I mean,
we're starting
they
to
have the
see
king
less
and
and
queen.
less magical power well up within the kingdom, and rarely any wizard apprentices anymore. The Assembly of Eight represents some of the most powerful individuals in the kingdom, both in terms of social status and in terms of what they can do. You get rid of them, who's to stop you from something more sinister, perhaps?
They want to kill everyone?
I don't know. I've had less dealings with these people than you, but it certainly seems like it could be a possible option if they're trying to get rid of the most powerful members within the community.
This is the other chain of events that I can't quite piece together into something concrete because I don't have a lot of evidence. But we know that Pills at Thimblefoot has a project of his own. Remember, he talked about that at the dinner.
I thought he was just showing off.
I don't think so, because I know that my father has been funding Thimblefoot Enterprises, but Zilpip, which one is the elder?
Zilpip.
Zilpip hasn't talked to my father in a long time.
Right.
So if my father's funding Thimblefoot and Pilsip is the financier and he has a project, I think that is where my father's connection to all this comes in.
So then the eyes are connected to Thimblefoot as well.
Exactly, because of the Warforged. which puts my
Do we know
father.
that they're connected to
Well, I
Warlords
mean, we
if
can
they're
also
connected?
match it
We
with
don't know that yet.
what's his face, Potix, maybe.
What about Potix?
I mean, he's a deep gnome just like the other ones, right?
Are they deep gnomes?
They're not.
No.
Or wait, weren't they
No, they're just
No.
gnomes.
just gnomes? Oh, I thought he was a deep gnome.
No.
Wait, who's the one? I think you said we saw a deep gnome when they were doing the railroad tracks.
No, I think they were rock gnomes.
Rock gnomes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't think we have enough information to draw these connections. It's
I
an
know,
interesting
that's-
theory, but
That's what trips me up too. I can't draw a strong line between all these
it
things.
still isn't an answer as to what we're supposed to do about keeping this man safe.
I think we should try the scrying.
That one will follow up tomorrow if she wants to do it, because you're the one who's attuned
Yeah.
to the scrying orb.
How's the dice feel tonight?
Luckily, you still have advantage on all your checks.
Right,
Unfortunately,
she
it's a
still
saving
have
throw for
foresight.
me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I might give disadvantage because of foresight, though.
Did you get the robe out of the
Oh,
bag?
Yeah, I can.
For his robe?
Okay. Does it consume the robe, or does
No.
Okay.
If we have to, we can I can cast seeming on anybody, so we could even get a servant to play the role.
Dawn speaks up. I'd rather not put innocents and powerless people in
Okay.
such a dangerous position.
I think I like the idea of using seeming to set a trap, like Mara suggested.
Just, it shouldn't be one of us, is what I'm saying. At least not the four of us.
Bree says, I'll volunteer.
Can you pass yourself off as that? And I
That's funny.
Yeah, sure, why not? I can do it.
I don't know if you could be Yin. I mean, maybe Aramil could. He's quiet enough.
Aramil says, perhaps I might be able to do that.
My spell doesn't change voices or tempers.
I could do my best to attempt the voice. However, depending on the situation of the trap, perhaps I don't need to speak.
They might not know what Yin sounds like anyway.
That's true.
This is true. What? I don't know why they would know what I sound like anyways.
Unless you met them without knowing.
This is true.
All right, go ahead and scry then, and we'll form a plan after we know what they're thinking, if we can.
If we can.
If we can.
Can each of you, at this point, while you're formulating this plan, make just a charisma check for me?
Okay. Just straight up charisma.
Mm-hmm.
7.
5.
20.
11.
Okay. So then you're going to scry?
Okay. I'll try to scry.
Yeah. Well, the DC is 17. It's pretty high. So that's pretty
For
good.
who?
You don't have to do anything because you just
Yeah.
cast it. You hold the robe and you cast it.
Okay.
You hold
So
the rope
get
and
it
you
out
like
of
put
my-
your hand on the ball on the table and you're good.
Okay. Yeah, it takes sort of a minute. Actually, it takes 10 minutes to set up all of the things required for it. And to sort
we
of
can
enter
go
the
quietly.
meditative state that you need to be in
Yeah,
to
there it
use
is.
it.
In that 10-minute time, is everyone kind of like talking about random stuff?
Yeah, probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I would
you're
try and get Yin aside and like whisper to him and ask him if he's familiar with the Elder Haven Reaches.
Yeah, and he whispers back, yes, I've heard of the country, of course.
And then I would say, well, your complexion certainly looks like someone who knows a little bit more.
He looks a little bit shaken by that.
And then in Keen, I would say, how did you get by the fog?
Okay. Then in sort of broken Keen,
Yeah.
almost like, I guess not
This is
broken.
kind of hush, so
It's not broken Keen so much as it's,
like not practiced, sort of.
no, it's almost childlike.
Oh, okay. I see.
He doesn't have, I mean, like, since
Like Japanglish, sort of?
I've, as you know, based the Elder Haven Reaches off of Japan, and Eastern countries and things like that. Japanese has sort of, registers of speech, where there's like, a way that children would speak. There's a way that
Well,
small-
the formalities and
JLPT
stuff.
as you passed.
It's not so much his level of JLPT. It's that he's speaking in sort of the register that a child would speak to
Yeah,
a
okay.
parent.
Yeah.
And he says, I didn't get past the fog. I know of what you speak. I grew up here. But my mother was from there.
See.
And she always spoke of the land she came from and taught me a little bit of the language.
Okay. And then, just to kind of enforce the point we were talking about earlier, I would say the eyes have done great damage to the Elderhaven Reaches, and I'd say that's where I'm from. That's where I was from, and where I was born, and I was turned into this.
He sort of looks down at the ground a little bit as you are mentioning what you
And I would show him
into.
the locket
Mhm.
of my. We said it was my mom and sister,
Mhm.
or was it grandma? At
I
one
think
point it was grandma,
your...
but I'll let you pick which one it was. Because we switched it. At first it was grandma.
In my brain, it's your mom,
That's fine.
but I
can
think
do
I
that.
screwed up the first time,
Yeah,
or
it's
didn't
okay.
quite know where I was going
So
with it.
I'd show him the locket and be like, that's my family that I'm looking for, and the eyes kidnapped them.
He says, it's a beautiful family. You're lucky to have, well, I do hope you are reunited with them. Roll a charisma check at advantage.
Oh god, I'm not good at charisma, but I can try. Okay. I rolled 2 1s.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Like, I literally rolled 2 1s.
I mean, that's
He jinxed
Hunter,
himself.
though. That's Hunter.
Yeah, and you can see he's kind of like nervous to get away from you. And
I
so he
see.
kind of like edges his way back to the sea
Okay.
to join the group.
Yeah, I tried.
Mara, your ritual completes, and I need to roll a save on Kroor's behalf. Let's pull up his stat block.
17 DC, right?
DC is 17?
Yep.
And
Yep.
it is what stat?
Wisdom, probably.
Where's the card?
We were done, sorry.
I'm not done until they cry.
We haven't even started.
It just says save DC 17.
Okay.
Because this is... Oh, it does say whiz down here in pencil.
Okay. I rolled
Because he's
a 10, but he has a +8.
And a -4.
And a -4!
Yep.
From the robe!
from the robe.
So,
Yes!
the
Nice.
orb was filled with this misty fog before. And as you're sort of honing your meditation and focusing in on the orb and trying to look deep within the fog's depths to seek out Kuor and the rest of the eyes of the world, your vision focuses out, and you're suddenly, it's as if you're looking down on the city of Farendel from high above, and you can see it's roundish shape with the castle in the middle on its platform where it can be raised and lowered. And then your vision shoots back down, and you can't really tell where your vision pulls you back to. But you're in a hallway, and you can see it's as if you're standing directly behind this robed figure. And it is not the figure you remember seeing before, whose skin was papery white and dying. It is a metallic warforged figure. And as you sort of, the scrying sensor sort of pans around and you can get a better look, you can see metallic robotic tentacles across the face with razor blades that look like they could saw a man's head in half. A warforged mind flare
gosh.
is what you're seeing. And this figure is walking down a stone hallway. And they come to
Dun, dun, dun.
they come to a doorway and open it up into a dimly lit room, and then they flick a little switch on the wall, and row by row lights come on in the room, and you can see rows of warforged soldiers standing at attention. Kuor then sort of gives a look over the room, the perhaps hundreds of figures standing still in the room, and then begins to make his way around a walkway. And I believe the spell lasts for 10 minutes, so you're going to follow him for a bit. Let's see.
Am I describing the scene to them, or am
Well,
I
we're
like in
gonna
a trance?
do it after.
I think, yeah, you're trans.
Yeah, Mara's
Okay.
eyes are just, like, her eyes look like they're reflecting the mist within the orb. Like, if you look at her eyes, it's just
Milky
fog.
Way.
Is it working?
I don't know.
Would we recall what
Have you
Leah
ever
looked
done
like when she was doing it?
Actually,
It's very similar to
can
this.
Radiance
okay.
do that spell?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would have seen her do it before.
Well, we would either see Leah or you'd see Radiance.
Well,
so.
Leo. Well, that's true. We did
Yeah.
walk in while Leo was doing it.
Yeah,
Actually,
we
what
saw her
level
doing
is
it.
this spell? 5th. Actually, I don't think Radiance is high enough.
But there
to
are
do
other
this spell.
divination wizards in
Mhm.
my clan, though, so maybe I would have seen someone do it.
Yeah, and you've seen Leah do it, at the very least.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah,
we
I
would
think
know that.
that's what it looks like when it works. Leah, it wasn't working with Leah, though.
He goes sort of around the room across a walkway and then into another door and up a set of stairs. And he comes into a hallway which, go ahead and roll a perception check.
This you can roll at advantage.
Yes, because of foresight.
What?
No, not passive.
That's
Not
passive. It's where you going?
I don't know.
It's wisdom, I think. It's under wisdom.
It's right there.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, so 24.
24. That's very good. It's not that you recognize this specific hallway, but the stonework and layout of the path he's taking through this building or whatever is familiar enough that you realize he's within the castle. And he takes a stairway that winds up and up and up, and then slides aside a secret door, and is in what looks to be a wide throne room. You can see there are high vaulted ceilings, and there are windows along the walls, and there's 2 large doors that lead into the room. The ceilings are supported by these 4 pillars, these columns. And then there's a dais, which he's sort of come out on top of from behind a little bit. And there are 2 thrones on the dais. And sort of slouched in one of the thrones, lazily, is a man, bald, with a gold circlet, a thin gold circlet around his head. Pale complexion, and like dark gray eyes. And he's sort of slouched lazily in the throne. And as Kuor approaches from behind, he turns and says, "Ah, Kuor, good, I was about to send for you. How are things going? Are we ready? Will the trap be laid?" And Kuor says, "Yes, of course, Orin. Things will be all ready for tomorrow morning. Finally, we'll be rid of these pests that have been plaguing us." And then the figure sort of sits up a little bit and says, "And what about our 2 prisoners? Are they still being cooperative? Or do I need to go and enforce a little bit of compliance?" And Kuor says, No, I have that well in hand. You needn't worry about that." And then Orin replies, "Good. Hold on, what did he say? He says, "Good, but I think our little duplicates are doing well enough for now." And suddenly you can see Kuor and Orin both look across the room, and you can see sort of huddled in the corner are the what appear to be the king and queen. They're just sort of like sitting against the wall, looking blankly. Dawn's parents. And then lastly, Oren says, "And did you get a report about the gala tonight? Was there any suspicion?" And Kuor replies, "No, I think we pulled it off without a hitch. There should be no problems." And then the scrying spell, the 10 minutes, comes to an end, and your vision is pulled back into the room.
Okay, and they don't know I was there, or do they, how does that spell work?
They don't know you were there, you were just
like
lying.
fly on
Yeah,
the wall.
it's like an invisible sensor that was followed.
You know what's really lucky for you
Okay.
is that creatures with true sight can see invisible sensors, and in his original form, Kuor had true sight. But as a Warforged, he does not.
Yes. I got a break for once.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so
So you're
I'm
gonna come out of
probably
it and
like
tell us everything.
coming out shaking, then trip over my words and relate what I just saw. It worked, guys. It worked.
What did you see? Everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna stand up, and I'm gonna look at Yin.
Mm-hmm.
Really look at him. Who are you really?
As I've said, my name is Yin, Master of the Assembly of Eight's School of Necromancy.
Insight check.
Okay. Specifically on that statement, or just his behavior in general up to this point?
Both?
Okay.
Can I do both? Like everything? Like,
I guess so, yeah,
Is he
sure.
being honest? Is he hiding something?
I'm kind of curious too.
Insight.
You can roll an insight as well.
Yeah.
17.
17?
I didn't do as well. I did 9.
9. Harmony, suddenly now with this information, and actually seeing his reaction to Mara say this information, he's sort of like sitting back a little bit straighter in his chair. You think he is hiding something. You don't necessarily know which part he's been lying about, but something of he's not as clueless as he said he was.
I'm gonna grab Thaddeus. Come with me and go outside the room real quick.
Yes.
It's like, come, yank.
What is Dawn's reaction to her
Shut the door.
parents being?
She like stands up at the table and just is like sort of staring down at it, and Bree sort of puts her hand on the shoulder and sort of lowers Dawn back into the chair, and then they sort of like put their heads together, and it sounds like they're whispering a little bit to themselves.
Okay.
What is it? Do you have a plan?
What if Yin's not actually one of the 8? What if he's the trap? They said they were pulling off something at the gala, right? That's what Mara said they heard?
My assumption was that it was the fake.
He's been acting fucking shady all night in that robe.
I've never met him before. I
Yeah, but
have no
you can-
basis for comparison.
You're a fucking paladin. You know what shady looks like.
It's true. I would expect.
I just get this weird feeling from him, and he's not telling us the whole
He
truth.
speaks in an evil Kermit voice.
He
I-
speaks an evil Kermit voice.
I would expect all of these things from a master of necromancy, but
Can we
I
just...
agree that we
Isn't
should
there
do
something
something.
you can do to get him to tell us the whole truth?
And I will do that.
Okay. I'm counting on you.
All right.
We go back in. My tail is really whipping like an angry cat.
Okay. You can see that Yin in the room has taken to sort of
He's in
pacing
there,
back and
sleeping.
forth, stroking his goatee a little bit.
What's Mandus doing this whole time? Just quiet.
Mandus is watching Yin with an eyebrow raised.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
I'm
message-
like. Oh. Go ahead.
I'll message Mandus as
I was
we come
gonna-
back in the
yeah.
room,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I think Yin's the trap. What do you know about him?
Mandus replies, "Not much, but I'm inclined to agree with you.
I'm going to sit.
Something is very suspicious
It's
with
so
him."
suspicious.
I'm going to sit across from Yin
Mm-hmm.
and take out the hilt and like place it on the table with my hands still around it and says, "Yin, one way or another, in Asanahin's name, I will have the truth from you." And now he's got to make a wisdom saving throw.
First, would you make an intimidation check?
Okay.
But then I'll make this wisdom saving throw.
What's the wisdom saving throw for?
Zone of truth.
Oh, okay, okay.
Zone of truth.
Zone of truth.
This is a really good intimidation check. It's
Yes.
a 23.
Yes.
23.
It's about time.
And also, what is your spell save DC? Better
50.
than, okay, I was going to say better than 13, right?
Yes, it's better than 13.
He fails. Which is something you can tell with the spell, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was your intimidation check?
It was 23.
It was a lot.
Okay. Give me just a second to pull up some information here.
Of course you did.
The
That
stuff
was
we're
awesome.
doing is finally working!
It's finally working. The things we want to do.
We're not kidnapped. We're doing things.
We're actually ahead of him
In
for
fact,
once.
you have an advantage I wasn't sure you'd have.
Finally.
Really?
Ian says, fine. Look, I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything. And he sits back down in his chair a little bit.
I'm gonna like have my arms crossed. Okay.
When they first came, they approached me. I think,
The eyes.
yes. I think I may have been one of the first they approached. I don't know. When I said I didn't know what's going on with the other assembly members outside the city, that was true. I know nothing about that. They said I could live if I cooperated, if I helped them put off this appearance that the king and queen were still in control. And they said the king and queen would stay alive as long as I did. And they are.
Well, apparently, not in the place that we think they are, but
No, but they're alive, and I've been able to guarantee that. And they also offered me something I've wanted for a very long time, which is a chance to see my mother's homeland. So I have been working with them. But I didn't know they were murdering my colleagues. I swear, that's the truth.
What have you done for
they
me?
offered to. They threatened to murder the king and the queen, and you didn't know they were off murdering other people?
No, look,
How naive are you?
their leader, he's a man named
You're the
Orin.
fucking master
He's an
of
incredibly
necromancy.
powerful wizard, and when he came to me, he said he wanted to work with the rest of the assembly and glean their knowledge for himself. That's all I know.
By eating their brains.
What have you done for them?
Actually,
Mostly-
When you say you've worked with them, what has this work entailed?
It's mostly been the sort of thing you saw me doing at the gala. Ensuring that certain people don't get audiences with the king. People who are, and queen, people who are likely to figure out the ruse.
So the trap was
Is that what you
actually
were doing at
us
the-
meeting with the king and queen.
Unfortunately, here's the last bit of bad news. The trap is you're meeting with the king and queen tomorrow. They're planning to do away with you.
well, that's not gonna happen. Wait, so the thing that that was successful at the gala was you, like,
Keeping up the ruse.
parading people around?
But this is good.
And the trap is the meeting tomorrow.
But this is good. Now we know that it is trapped. Now Yin is on our side.
Are you?
I must say, I've seen what Orin can do.
You haven't seen what we can do.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is true.
Is Orin here?
Yeah, Mara said.
Yeah, Mara
relayed-
described
So
it
it was
as-
in this castle that they're in this
Yes,
castle?
they're in the castle.
I guess the only question now for all of us is now or in the morning.
Element of surprise, but do we need to rest? We
Definitely.
haven't
I don't
rested
have
in a
any
long
spells.
That is
time.
the question. You have no spells left.
I mean,
So-
I have a few spells left,
Then-
but I am useless if
What
we don't
time is
sleep.
it right now? Is it
Morning.
evening?
Yeah, it's evening. It's very late in the evening
We'll
because the
meet.
party.
So that
went
means they're
until
planning
later,
to
so-
planning to like ambush us during this like audience with the king and queen. So that
Yes.
means they're not going to come for you. Yeah.
They were never going to come for you.
They were never going to come for you because you've been working with them the whole time.
You
I
doofus.
suppose so.
So
yes,
what
That
are
might
we even?
be the truth.
Thank God we scribed before we came up with a plan.
Let's see.
For all that's unholy in the nine hells.
Okay, so now we have to lay a trap for the trap.
Or we just walk into it under the pretense that we don't know it's a trap, but
They
then we're
have-
ready.
But they have hundreds
Um,
and hundreds of Warforged.
You can see Aramil has sort of been keeping his hand on Dawn's shoulder, but she's like in tears at the end of the table, and she throws off his hand. and strides across the room and grabs Yin by the robes and says, in her most intimidating voice, "Where are my real mother and father? I don't care anymore a bit about protecting you. I don't...
He doesn't need our protection.
Look,
Yeah.
I don't think I can be any help in planning our reverse trap or whatever as long as my parents are in peril."
You can come with us on the raid tomorrow, because that's what it's going to be. We're going to go down there and raid their stronghold and get the king and queen back.
Well, why don't...
There's nothing that we gleaned from your taking apart of when that we can use to disable all those.
Nope.
If we could
He
come
did a
up
really
with
shit
something-
job with that. He doesn't know anything.
I know, but if there was a way that we could find out how they're being controlled, maybe one of us could sneak around and look, since they're not
That's too much work.
expecting us.
So I don't think.
Well, there's no way
You
we
said-
can wage a battle against that.
Did you say Oron was wearing some kind of a... something on his head?
A gold circlet.
A gold
perhaps like that
circlet?
guy. You guys can pass around Oren's mini if you want.
How long has that been there?
I wonder if it's some kind of magical
Does
item.
he look like a normal person, or does he actually look like a...
Like a normal person.
Okay. That kind of looks like a skeleton.
It's hard for me to say without having seen it myself.
It's getting on towards close to midnight at this point. Hunter, as you're sort of looking about the room as all of this is happening, you look out the window, and for a second you see something that seems impossible.
Okay.
You see a floating skull,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
for all intents and purposes. And your eye snaps back to it, and it seems to, its empty eye sockets seem to be staring directly into your eyes. And as your eyes are locked,
Don't we have any shutters on this goddamn window?
you find that you can no longer move your body.
Do we notice this is happening?
Who has good passive perception?
No, that is.
Does Mandus?
Mandus does have good passive
Mine's
perception.
12.
Mine's
Mars
also
is 14.
So am I like paralyzed completely?
Yes.
Okay, so I can't talk or anything either?
I think a lot of us are focused on Dawn at the moment.
Yeah.
Probably.
And as you feel its eyes locking onto you, I want you to make a... I'm trying to think of what sort of check this would be. What are your proficiencies?
In tools
In, like,
or skills?
Yeah.
Athletics, investigation, perception, and survival.
Make a survival check.
Okay. I got a 23.
23. Easy enough. With your knowledge of the time you spent training in the Elderhaven Reaches, you know that this is a spirit that sometimes appears in the Elderhaven Reaches. When an individual dies in a way that is deemed by whatever cosmic criteria to be unfair or too early, they sometimes come back as a type of spirit called a mekurabe. And it will seek out its killer, its perceived killer,
Oh no.
and lock it in a staring contest until they are unable to move. And then the loser of this staring contest, which involves a battle of wills, dies.
Okay.
So, I need
That
you to make a
information
charisma
is
saving
told
throw.
us.
Charisma? Really?
How close is Thaddeus to you? Within 10 feet?
Maybe?
Yes, that
Yeah.
is within 10 feet.
Right,
So
so you get a plus
his
3 to
bonus.
this.
Alright, I got a
You rolled pretty well.
17.
17, okay. That's one success, so write that down.
What?
Oh no.
Okay.
That's so weird. I'm coming to get you.
Alright.
What did you
Oh my god.
Oh man, I cannot find my
I have
notes on this.
charisma. That's my worst one.
What's the spirit called?
Mekurabe?
Yep.
Does it literally mean like comparing eyes?
It is a yokai in Japanese
Yeah.
mythology. This is your first time seeing a spirit.
I feel like
In this
usually
body.
people's first time is kind of their last.
Yeah, this is a bad spirit to meet. Hey, nice to meet you. You're dead.
As Dawn is basically like grabbing onto Yin's collar, and the rest of you are pretty much focused on that scene. Mandus shouts out, "Hey, everyone! Something's going on with Hunter. I'm not entirely sure what, but."
So Hunter's completely frozen.
And you, as
Like
you
staring
look
out
at
the
Hunter,
window.
you can see he's looking straight out the window and not moving at all.
Can we see
And
the
I'm-
spirit too?
And I like wave a hand
No,
in front
just hand.
of Hunter's faceplate.
And I can't
you there?
think, right? I'm completely paralyzed.
You are completely paralyzed.
Okay. But like my eyes are still like on or open.
Can I, look and see, try to see what he's looking at?
Yeah, his eyes are looking straight out the window, but as you sort of follow the gaze, there's nothing there.
I'm gonna run to the window. Are there shutters on the window?
Yeah, they're on the inside.
Okay. I'll run to the window and like look out and see if I see anything.
There's nothing there.
Shut the shutters.
Okay.
Bolt it.
In your vision of this, I mean, you can still see Harmony run and do this.
Mm-hmm.
As she's moving to shut the shutters, the thing moves through the window,
No. Okay.
straight at you.
All right.
And it just keeps that intense eye contact. And make another charisma
Oh,
saving
what
throw.
to do?
I
I
hadn't,
can't see
I hadn't
it.
seen him do this before.
All right.
I mean, I've seen
I
him
mean,
power down,
he's
but
shut down sometimes, but usually like he shuts down. It looks
So
like
I
he's
got how much bonus do I
plus
get?
3.
Oh, it's a 13. Or no, plus 3 that's a 12.
12? Okay, so
Yeah.
that's one failure.
Oh no.
I don't know what I can
Okay.
do.
How
I don't
many?
know
What's
anything.
the? I don't. I guess you maybe you don't tell me.
So basically what Hunter feels is this, like, there's this back and forth of wills between you and this creature, and you can feel it's trying to draw out your soul and, like, get revenge for its death.
Okay.
I'll go over to Hunter and I'll like shake him.
I'm going to use my divine sense.
Okay. That gives you fiends, fae,
No, they give me celestials, fiends, and undead.
celestials, fiends, and undead. This thing... The thing is, it has a special category, which is spirit or yokai. I haven't decided which one I'm going to call it yet. But they have a little bit of overlap with different types. So I'm thinking about giving them like double types in certain cases. So I think you would feel a presence of undead.
And I know the location as well.
And so you can see, you feel that it's like, it's not a strong undead presence, but there is something undead within, say, 20 feet of the window. It's come into the room a little ways.
There's a spirit here. I can sense it.
Well, do something about it.
I don't know what to do. You're the one who can banish things. I can't even see it.
I can't banish something I can't see.
I know it's right there.
Aramil casts a spell, and this sparkling fire descends on the room in the area you indicate, and you can just see the outline of a skull.
That's more like it. That is lights up his blade.
In which case, Hunter, I need another save, and then everyone else can act.
Okay. I'm gonna use Indomitable on this one.
Okay.
It's a 10. So we'll try it again. Come on, Hunter! Oh, yes. That's a 19 plus whatever.
That's 21.
Does it matter?
22.
No, that's
22.
a success, so you're fine.
Okay.
But you're still locked in place. That's 2
Alright,
successes and
this
1
is
failure.
the most deadly staring contest I've ever been in.
What is everyone doing? We'll just go around the room.
I'm gonna hit it with my sword.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack. Because it's
So-
not taking any actions. It is
Yeah.
just staring at Hunter.
That's a 20 to hit.
Hits.
Huh. I do get extra damage on undead. I don't know if that counts here or not. I'll leave it up to you.
I will say yes, it counts.
Okay, cool. Oh wait. Plus. So,
Wow, that's good.
that's 10 radiant plus 14 cold.
So you're 10 radiant plus 14 cold. Okay.
Yeah.
Your sword slashes through the form, and you can see there's almost like no reaction from it. Like it's still, its eyes are just, its skullless socket or its eyeless sockets are just focused solely on Hunter. But you do feel a little bit of resistance as your sword slashes through.
Okay.
Do you want to make your second attack?
Oh, that's right. Ooh, that's even better. That's a 24 to hit.
Okay.
For 12 radiant and 10 cold.
And then we'll just go next to Harmony. What are you going to do as you see this thing appear? And Thaddeus rushes forward with his sword and slashes into it.
Who
and you
knows
can see
something
it.
about spirits? Do these things belong in this realm? Anyone?
Yin speaks up and he says,
Yeah, necromancer, master necromancer from the Elder Hair Regions. Do you know anything about spirits?
He's not from there.
Yeah.
my mother always said that if you've seen a spirit, it's too late.
Oh, for the love of... And I banish it.
You banish it?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the saving throw? It's charisma.
Yes. 17.
I rolled a 3 on dice, so no. So what you see is...
No wild magic.
Does banishment manifest as like a beam that hits it, or how does that look, I guess?
I think it just pops out of existence. I'll check in the book.
I don't think it's going to say. I think you can just...
Yeah,
make it
probably
what
not.
you want
So
the effect.
what do you want it to look like?
I mean, it probably just kind of like all implodes into a
Oh
point
yeah,
and
just sort of like
pops.
collapses into
Yeah.
itself. Yeah, it does that, and there's that pop, the familiar pop that you're used to.
Uh-huh.
And as it does it, there's a sort of a special wisp of white smoke that billows out from it that isn't normally there. And
I'm
the
gonna
room
look right
falls
at
silent,
Hunter.
and you are no longer paralyzed.
Okay, so knowing what I know about what happened, I'm gonna like reactively just like kick out of the chair and like fly backwards. And be like, oh my god!
Yin himself is like back up against the wall as well. Like, he was pretty terrified when
Hunter,
this thing was
yeah,
Are
visible.
you alright?
I was almost not alright. I almost just died.
What the hell just happened? What
And
was
then I'll
that
explain
thing?
what the spirit was. And I'll just tell you what Ethan said. Like, it's a spirit that, you know, recently died that tries to right its death by finding its killer and launching
Wait,
into
so
a
it's...
staring
So,
contest.
Was it when?
Is there any way that I would know who it was? Yeah, no, I don't
But
know.
I mean, who else have you killed that would come back as a spirit?
I have no idea.
With
No one
wisps of
recently.
Smoke.
Considering the spirits are generally localized to the Elderhaven reaches, best guess is it would have to be someone from there.
Yeah, I would guess it would be his. But, like,
Is it going to come back? Did the banishment accomplish anything?
do I know...
Well, if it
well,
doesn't come back in a minute, it's gone for good.
So, do I recall all of the other teachings about spirits, about how we corralled them, or...
Yeah.
Okay, and, like, if there was some sort of banishment-like
There's
spell?
usually certain rites you can do to ward them off, or some spirits are more tricky than others, so you would have to, like, take a certain action to get them to never come back. It really depends on the type of spirit. What you know about this one with your check is that usually, if it can be revealed, like, it's usually only visible to the person who it's exacting its vengeance on.
Mm-hmm.
If it can be killed, then it will disappear in a puff of black smoke, and it will be gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
But if their gaze is broken for one reason or another, if it can't hold the staring contest, it will disappear in a puff of white smoke, and then is not necessarily defeated and may return at some point in the future.
Well, I mean, I just banished it. The way that my spell works, if it's from a different plane, it'll stay there. But if it's not, it'll be back in a minute. So if it comes back, we
Go
just
hide,
need to
run.
we
Run,
just
there's
need
no
you to
hiding.
not look at it, right?
I don't think that's possible.
Now that there was that moment where you saw it and then you looked back because you doubted your eyes. You do know that with the way that their effect works, you can, mechanically speaking, look away if you choose.
Sure.
Until you're locked in that paralyzing
Right.
effect.
Do I know other alternatives to get rid of the spirit, to ward it off, or to, like, communicate with it, or...
Essentially, no. This one's very, very difficult in that it's only visible to the person who has wronged it according to the cosmic judgment or whatever.
Okay.
And then if it matches the eyes with them, then it is going to lock them in place, and obviously they can't do anything about it. So
It's really annoying.
We should deal with this tonight before it comes back tomorrow at the worst possible time.
Well, if it comes back in a minute, we'll be able to deal with it, I guess. Unless it's invisible to everybody. Again.
you could see as you were about to take action. The rest of you were about to take action as well. Dawn was reaching for her holy symbol, which is around her neck, and getting ready to do something with it as well.
I think we have matters well in hand here.
We have the right people in the room at least.
I'll walk over to Dawn. I'll put my hand on her shoulder. I'll say,
She's still, it's like she reached with her holy symbol, for her holy symbol with her left hand. In her right hand, she's still like clutching Yin, and since he was like scrabbling back to get against the wall, she's basically shoved him against the wall, and he's lifted like.
I'm just gonna put
like
my
half
hand
a
on
foot
her
off the
shoulder.
ground.
We'll find your parents. We will. They're still alive. We know that.
You better believe that by all my faith in Pelor, I will exact punishment on the people who have done this to my family.
Great. Glad to have you on the team. Also, does this mean you don't have to marry that jackass?
I think that was what they were talking about with the,
She sort of lowers Yin to the ground and sighs and says, unfortunately, until those are proven connected, not necessarily.
Well, was it your father?
I mean, like,
mother,
how
or
long
was it
have your real parents been locked up? Maybe
Yeah.
it was the fake parents.
These
and
are-
who are these fake parents anyway?
That's right. Who
Um,
are they?
Dawn shrugs and says, these are the things that perhaps this one knows? And she looks over at Yin, and Yin replies, the eyes came to me, they approached me about a month ago. And like I said, I think I was among the first people they spoke with within the city. So, it was around that time that the agreement was made.
Ha! Told you!
Hmm?
That's good news. That's good news.
It is good news that Gavin will not have to be the king of this country.
Yeah. You're free, Don.
Why is that the case?
You're free.
Just, I'm as Ethan, I'm wondering why you're.
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
No,
it was around that time
his
that they
agreement
made that.
with them was made. Sorry.
Oh, so he doesn't know if they've been clones for a month.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
He knows that the king and queen have been clones for a month, but he's not saying when the agreement for
I
Gavin
see.
and Dawn.
I thought that was the
that's
agreement
what-
you were
yeah.
talking about.
Sorry, no,
Okay,
I meant
that's what I thought too.
What I
his
think
agreement
is,
with them to spare their lives.
Okay.
I think that was what Cora said about how no one suspected last night. It's not that no one. It could have been about the community about.
Dawn speaks up and says, last night was one of the first times I've seen my parents in person since I returned. It could be that they were extra
did you get
concerned
back?
about that. Only a week or so ago.
That's about how long we've been here.
But then,
And I've met with Gavin several times within that time.
Have you ever met him before that?
No, but that's not to say discussions weren't in progress.
anyway, that's either here nor there.
We can.
I'm sure they can let it
We
slide.
can sort this out with your parents once we get them back.
Especially once
Yes,
they find
I
out
agree.
that the Hammerlocks are in league with those assholes.
I think there will be a lot of things we have to sort out as soon as we can rescue my parents.
Let's rest. Let's
So
rest
the
for
question
tonight.
is,
Well,
do we
no.
all rest? Do we want
Let's wait.
people to go down
For
and
his-
find...
Personal demon return.
Yeah.
Yeah, has it been a minute?
It's getting to about the minute.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I could always just... Well, no. After a minute,
I have another.
I have to keep the concentration
Yeah.
for a full minute.
That is looks at Irma and said, "I have another divine sense burn. I can tell you where to point your spell."
He sort of nods and says, excellent. I can't cast too many spells, but I can manage another one of that same effect.
And I think if you can get that up, I think the 8 of us can manage.
He nods. Agreed. And so yes, a minute passes. And
Hear this
true
rattling.
enough, in the same exact position it was, floating in the middle of the air,
You hear the clanging of metal.
the fairy fire was cast before banishment, so that actually dissipates.
Yeah.
And so Hunter, as you're sort of like keeping your eyes down and using like your peripheral vision,
And I'm like,
That's
there
true,
it
we don't
is.
need divine sense, because Hunter can tell us where it is. 'cause
Oh,
he
yeah.
can see
it
it.
I'm like-
reappears. Aramil
Pointing.
casts his spell, and I'm not going to have any of you roll damage or anything because between Thaddeus and Dawn, who's going to just she casts a spell that like summons this radiant weapon, which just slashes into it. It's this giant greatsword.
Yeah, I think I'll just sit back and watch this
The
time.
2 of us have got this.
Yeah.
Bree, well, no, Bree's not going to do anything actually.
Shoot a gun.
Yeah, like Bree goes to pull what is effectively a pistol. It's this, from the rest of you, it'd be something you've never really seen before. But it's this, metallic device that fits in the palm of her hand, and she goes to point it at it, And Ignatius just sort of like lowers her hand and says, "Too much noise."
Is this the first time I've ever heard Ignatius speak?
Yeah. No, well, he was chatting with me
Talking-
at the
and
dinner
Manda's,
table,
that's true.
but you weren't with
Yeah,
us.
I wasn't working.
Yeah, and Draconic.
Yeah.
So he's like looking at Hunter. You're like, oh, I'm doing it too.
But yeah,
No, it
Ignatius
wasn't like-
throws
it
a
was like-
firebolt spell
Yeah,
into
oh,
that.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, he'd probably like breathe fire at the thing. So between all of you, no problem with your coordinated
Black
attack.
smoke?
It black smokes?
It puffs into black smoke.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
And Hunter, you see the black smoke drifting down to the ground, which is your cue that you can
Alright.
look up again.
Okay.
Well, crisis averted.
Can I erase the successes and fails?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because he said it was going to be really easy for all of us. 'Cause it
I was
wasn't
I was up
attacking
on one
us, it was
though.
just trying to-
Hopefully it was just 3 and I would have succeed one more time.
It
I
was,
wonder if I would have done it.
It was best of 3.
It was like 8
Oh,
versus-
so I did it then.
Hmm?
Best of
Maybe
3,
that's
right?
Well, no, I mean, like, you had to get 3.
I see.
Sorry.
What was the success thing?
It was poor wording.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to get 3 successes or 3 fails.
What was the success number?
Hmm?
What was the success
The
number?
DC?
Yeah.
Oh, it was 15.
Okay, so I would have failed one more time. I'm just like saying, I would have passed. Oh! Oh my gosh! It would have
Alright,
been 2 and
well-
2.
Now that that's taken care of, the one
Oh
question
my
I
gosh.
had was, do people who are sneaky want to try and scout ahead and see if they can find this place with all the
I like
warforged
look at
tonight?
Mandus.
Or like, do you
Alright,
just want to...
you've literally seen it. You know where it is.
Like, what if you and
I don't
Mandus
know how to
snuck
get
down
there, but I would recognize it if I saw it again. And I have really,
Mandus
really
stands
sneaky
and
boots.
says, "I can investigate the castle."
I mean, is that too dangerous? Should we wait until after we deal with the attack tomorrow and then go and... My worry is there's going to be the attack tomorrow and then they're going to use them as hostages or leverage or something if things go sour. But if we can free them tonight, or at least discover where they are, maybe we'd have a little bit of an upper hand if they're like, oh, we're going to kill them.
See?
So, from what we know about Warforged, are they pretty mindless until programmed or like commanded from their?
You've never really seen them in the state that Mara described.
Right,
You've always
so
seen them being active.
Between what we know and saw with Wen
That's true.
commanding
I saw
the.
Hunter like that, right?
When you saw Hunter, he was sort of strapped to a chair.
But still kind of in the state of like
Yeah,
being
yeah.
turned off.
And then also when we saw Wen command the ones outside CL's shop, did he just say like attack or something, or did like right
Yeah,
when she
they
came
were
outside?
to a degree rather mindless.
Okay.
Wen himself was very lucid.
Well, right. Yeah, he was an exception. I think. Okay.
I guess what we
Maybe
do
like
depends on what Mara saw. How far down did you have, or did you watch Core down?
Well,
I have Core's new Warforged Illithid mini
see
as well,
that.
if you want to take a look at that.
Oh.
Shit.
the staircase that he went
I like the
was a
painting that
spiral
you did.
went really far up. So
Oh,
it's
I like
really
this on the
high.
back.
It would be in a
That's
really
good.
high
Yeah, that's really good.
area of the castle.
So their storage is far down, and they themselves are on a higher level.
Because it
Look
was
at the
kind
back,
of in a
too.
domed area.
His little hand on there.
And
hands of
the king and queen that you saw were not near the storage of the Warforged.
No, they were in a separate room.
They were in that large throne room.
A throne, but not the same room we were in for the gala.
No. The room you were in for the gala was more of a ballroom.
Is there like a map of the castle?
Dawn says, "Not to my knowledge. I've seen the blueprints,
I mean, blueprints would work too.
but
Maybe.
I'm not sure where they're stored. Perhaps in the library?"
Can you send a servant to fetch them? Is that what you have these
I
people
could
around
try.
for? Is that not a good idea?
Let's have Yin go.
And he says, "What? Why me?"
Because nobody suspects you.
That's true.
Anybody but Valerie.
Have you been there before?
The library, of course.
Or not the library?
No, that's
the-
what I mean. Sending
Oh.
Yin to the library to look up some stuff and bring
Look.
it back to us.
You
Yeah.
of all people should be aware. I'm not a very good liar. If I get caught, there's a chance that I'm not coming back.
Well, that's a risk you'll have to take.
I don't know, you guys. What
He
are we
like
even
sighs
doing?
and like looks at the ground.
What are
I'm
we?
not in a position to argue, so...
What are we even doing though? Is this even a smart idea?
I am
Like,
worried.
what's our plan here?
I am worried that. I'm not worried if he gets caught. I'm worried if Mara and whoever else you bring gets caught. Because if 2 or 3 of you can go down, say you and Bree, and be undetected, but if you are detected, there's not much we can do to help you.
Bree says, I'm not really that great at sneaking.
No, it would be Mandus
Yeah.
if anything.
Or me, I've got the boots, but so what if I went with Yin?
Or you.
Because then
We're talking about another thing, right? We're talking about 2 separate.
Yeah,
Go
we're only
to go to
we're
get
only
the
saying Yin
blueprints.
to go get the blueprints,
Yeah,
so you
I
know
could
where to go.
We're
Yeah.
talking about you and Mandus going down to
And
find
I
this
know,
place.
but if we need the blueprints first, I could go with Yin, and it wouldn't be suspect. And then we could just bring him back here and make a
I
plan.
do
How
agree
often-
that it might be suspicious to send Yin by himself, considering we're supposed to be guarding him.
That's a good point too.
Can
Alright.
you be quiet, Yin?
We're
Not
technically guests of the
exceptionally so.
castle
What
tonight.
if I
though.
had
what?
what if I had a dagger to your throat?
Wait, but
I
we're
can do my very best.
we're technically guests of the castle tonight, right?
True.
Like the
Dawn-
king and queen know we're here. We're
Dawn
Dawn's
sent
guests. So what's so bad about a couple of us going down to the library? What's this?
That
what's
is
The problem
true.
is they're expecting to lay a trap for you in the morning.
Right, but like we shouldn't know about that. So why would
Look,
we be taking
if
precautions?
Dawn speaks up. I've been thinking about it, and I think if you need someone to go to the library, it should be me.
Okay.
You do have free reign of the castle.
Yes, no one will think twice of me going to the library. And Bree speaks up. She says, "No, it's too dangerous. You're not going."
Go with
often,
her.
How often can we scry? Can we just scry on them in case they're in danger, and then
I believe it's once per day. Did I write
Yeah.
on the card?
Yeah.
now that it's just past midnight, it's a new day. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Actually, I don't know. Does it say recharges
Every
at
dawn.
midnight on the card?
Oh.
Because some items recharge at midnight, like Thaddeus' shield. And most are dawn, though.
Sorry, go for one hand.
If it recharges at dawn, then we should get unlimited uses while we're here.
Legendary requires attunement. No, it doesn't say
Okay, we'll
when
look
it
it up.
recharges. Not the spell, but the item.
Oh, the item. Okay.
We're making too much out of just going to get a blueprint of the
Yeah.
castle.
Yeah.
Well, because
I-
it's scary.
I agree with Dawn.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying. Like if we're trying not to be suspicious,
So-
we shouldn't act like we know there's a trap coming.
The other thing we can do is we have these 2 silver daggers, and we can just have her have one of them if we really want to keep
That's
eyes.
a good idea too, especially if we send them down.
I'm talking about Dawn going to the library. She can just do that.
I know, but I'm
right, if
saying
wanna
we
do
can
that.
use it also for whoever decides
that's
to go
fine, too.
down.
I don't know if anyone should go down.
It depends on if we have a good objective that needs to happen tonight.
Unless we can send.
So the actual legendary item, Crystal Ball, and I didn't notice this, does not have charges. It just you can use it
Huh.
Nice.
to cast a spell. I think I'm gonna say it's once per day though,
'Cause that's too good.
and recharges at dawn. So
Okay.
we'll add that to the card.
But that's for
Okay.
the next session, right? So we can.
We'll start now.
Oh.
Okay.
So, what if?
So let's lay out.
What if? Okay, let's just at least get the blueprints tonight, and then tomorrow, are they expecting Mandus to come with us to this thing tomorrow? Because maybe Mandus and like Morant can go to try and like get ahead of us down there.
Amanda says,
Unless,
technically I wasn't invited to the party. I may still be a surprise element.
right.
And a big one.
So what if you try to go down and free the king
big
and
one.
queen while we're up here getting our asses kicked?
I'd like to be with you when you're getting your asses kicked, if you don't mind. But I have no problem.
You could always come
investigating
and,
down
and
below.
be like a late reinforcement later.
I'd rather be there from the start.
Okay.
However, I have no problem with. At this
I mean,
point
I
in
suppose it
time-
doesn't have to be you. It could be like Dawn and your friends. You could go down first and try to find your parents while we're actually in the courtroom being attacked.
Mandus, Dawn looks like she's ready to accept that offer, like right off the bat. But Mandus kind of interjects before she can like fully open her mouth and get any words out, and says, "If anyone here is qualified to sneak through the castle and find this place where these Warforged are being stored, It's me. I've had hundreds of years to perfect.
Wait, we don't need you to find the Warforged. We just need you to find the king and queen.
That's right.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I think you and Mara should go because you already know the way. You know where they are.
Tonight or tomorrow? Or do you want to scout it tonight so
Tonight?
that we know where it's at
Okay.
and just not do anything?
Tonight would be
It would be nice
the best
to
because
find
then
them.
we would be more in control of the
Right.
situation. It would also, if they noticed the king and queen are gone, they wouldn't also set a trap for us because then they would know that we would know. So their plans would be completely changed.
There's a lot we don't know about how well the king and queen are guarded. I'm just not.
Okay,
really
Yeah,
let me
maybe
throw it out.
gathering-
What if we
Info
just
gathering and
what if you guys just do recon tonight?
yeah.
Find where they are,
Yes.
don't do anything.
I
And
like
then
this.
tomorrow,
while the rest of us are
while
fighting.
while the rest of us go to this meeting, the people who aren't required to be there could go down and actually free them.
I know that you'd rather be at the fight, Mandus, but please do this for us.
I mean, it's important that the king and queen are safe too, and we've gotten a lot stronger. And if
And we have backup.
Amanda says, you don't have to convince me how strong you are. I know.
and if it turns out that we're fighting longer than it takes you to rescue them, you could always come back in and be our last minute backup.
The thing that concerns me, and he points at Yin, is how strong this one says Orin is.
Do we know for sure Orin's going to be there at the ambush tomorrow?
He was posing as the king, right? Or was he just sitting
he
in the
was
chair?
in the throne, lounging, and he said, I mean, don't know for sure, but if there's a possibility that someone that powerful is going to be in the mix,
Then you want to be with us.
I'm not leaving you alone.
All right.
Well, then I don't know. I mean, if we think Orin's going to be there fighting us, then maybe the king and queen, the real king and queen, are left unguarded by someone strong. Maybe Dawn's party would be enough to find them.
Well, they wouldn't suspect that they'd be rescued anytime soon, right?
Right.
No.
They
They're
don't
working
know we
towards
know
their
about
own
them.
agenda, not.
They don't know.
They don't know our agenda.
They don't know anything.
So theoretically, I mean, I don't. Let me know if this sounds like I'm a little bit too confident in us, but theoretically, they're going to bring all their big guns to the ambush tomorrow.
Yeah, they would bring enough to make themselves feel
So
comfortable.
maybe the king and queen won't be as heavily guarded.
I think that's a good idea. Is that the plan?
I mean, they won't necessarily need to sneak around because this is the fucking castle. This is where Dawn lives.
So who's going down there?
Tonight for
No.
recon?
No. Well, not. Well, I'm just saying at the time. in
Or
the morning,
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
My suggestion is Dawn and her friends go down tomorrow.
How will they know
And
what
Bandis
it
comes
is?
with us.
I mean, you
Because
can
we'll
draw.
have the blueprints.
So we'll get the blueprint,
Oh,
and then
okay.
you can draw a map and show them.
Yeah, and then we
exactly
can share the information
way.
after you
Wait,
guys
are you
get
s-
recon.
Are you saying Dawn and her friends go alone to the trap?
No,
No,
They
no.
go down to get the king and queen while we go to the
Oh,
trap with
okay.
bandits.
All right, that makes more sense.
Because we have the audience.
Right.
Because we have the audience,
But
they're
we-
expecting us,
but
and they're going to bring all their big
We have to make one
guns.
thing clear. We are walking into their trap.
Yes, but we know it's a trap. They're expecting to take us by
We-
surprise, and we won't be taken by surprise. We're
we
going
can-
in ready to fight.
We can prepare beforehand.
What sort of preparations would we make that would give us an advantage?
I know hundreds of Warforged.
Well, I don't know if they're going to bring all their Warforged to the party.
But they have access to them.
Down a steep, steep staircase.
Right, so if you guys go down to recon tonight, maybe you can find some way to disable them.
I don't know if we can do that.
Not to do it tonight, but just to maybe
I
see if
know.
you can
We could eavesdrop maybe
turn off a switch or something.
a little
Maybe
more.
cut a wire. Does this sound
Okay.
crazy? Does that
No,
sound...
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Am
not.
I missing anything?
I don't think I'd be able to sleep anyway, knowing that there's some creepy place in this castle.
Well, you
We're
have
all
to
the
come
Amanda
back
says,
up
I
and
think
sleep
in any
anyway.
case we sleep in shifts.
Yeah.
At least 2 people awake at a time.
I agree.
So, if that said, maybe you and Mandis could go down because you're the sneakiest. But
We have to have
let's have Dawn
blueprints
get the
first.
blueprints first.
Okay.
Okay. Dawn says, alright, if that's my part in the plan, then I'll do it. And Bree, you're coming with me.
And Aramil and... Well, not right now.
Not right now.
But, yeah, tomorrow.
Well, yes, but right now
Everybody.
to just get the blueprints, she's taking Bree.
Yes,
And
yes.
so Dawn goes off, and there's probably about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of just silent, anxious waiting. before Dawn finally returns with Bree and lays out across the table these massive blueprints of each floor of the castle. And sort of you go around the parts that represent the base of it and try and find the places that might lead to a place like this. Especially with Mara's knowledge, I guess make an investigation check at advantage.
Do we know that this room isn't like wired in some way?
Who's best?
don't know.
Who's best at investigation? It's not me.
I mean,
Can
Can
Mara's
I
not
ask
very
Mandus
good.
if he like
-2.
checked the
We
room?
have a
if
-2.
we're
Don't
being-
make that check.
Yeah,
then.
Mandus can check
Wait.
around.
Alright.
Well, I mean, she's the only one that would
Natural
know
20.
if she saw it.
The
though.
room is fine.
Okay. He's like.
He goes around the room and like pulls up pillows and things like that and like looks behind furniture and can't like the room seems to be untouched for the
Okay.
most part. Yeah.
I think any of us could make it
Because she described
because
it
she
to us.
described it to us.
Who's got the highest
She's basically
investigation?
aiding somebody.
Yeah. Whoever
with
has
check.
the highest investigation. Can
I have a +2.
6.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Alright, what do you want me to do?
So you make this check at advantage.
Investigation check at advantage to look for where the thing might be on the blueprints.
Okay.
Because there's-
natural 20.
Natural
Okay.
20!
On the blueprints themselves, there's no like
Next to a secret door.
there's no indication of here is a secret door, right?
Oh well, that's okay.
Because that wouldn't just be lying in the library.
Like sleight of hand,
But
like pencil
with a
that in.
natural
Like,
20.
But with Mara's description of the corridors, you're able to work out which corridor she saw Kuor traversing to get to that back door in the throne room. And then, just based on her memory, you work out how far along the hallway this secret door probably was, and you think you could probably find it. Actually, anyone who hears you sort of work this out could probably find it.
okay.
Okay, Mandus, are you ready to go?
Yes, I think it's our turn.
Do we need anything else? I'll bring my
And then I'll
toolkit.
Do we
Shake
have
the
any way
dagger
to
at him,
communicate
like-
with them? The dagger, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Mara, come
Well,
close.
you're proficient at that. You can handle that.
Yes, he'll hold on to the dagger. But he sort of gestures for you to come close to him. And then as you do, he focuses, and the shadows sort of coalesce around him as you've seen them do before. And they spread out from him onto you. And the rest of you see Mara and Mandus seem to, like, these shadows meld with their form a little bit, and it gets a little bit harder to see them. He has passed without a trace
Nice.
on the two of you.
That's what you did with us in the shadow fell too.
So your stealth checks are made at +10 right now, on top of what they normally are.
Yep.
And your advantage.
Yeah.
Before
I
we get into that, while they're gone, I'd like to, like, sit cross-legged in a corner and start enchanting a pair of the earrings that I had Mara steal.
Okay. What are you trying to enchant them with?
Some kind of message type
Okay.
spell so that you can use them to communicate with other earrings.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very critical roll.
Yeah. Or like if you have the earrings, you can cast message basically and send a message to someone.
Okay.
It's called.
Even if they don't have the earrings. they
Would you
can-
call it a Bluetooth?
Yeah.
It's
Very
like a
clever.
sapphire earring.
Yeah, and
In the
they're
shape
like
of a
really,
tube.
really nice jewelry earrings, and they're shiny
So
and
it has, like,
sparkly.
this little
Yes.
sound that's right here. Whispers.
Roll your Arcana check.
When you said very critical role, did you mean the D&D group, or did you mean that this is a very important role?
No, the
No,
D&D
the
group,
D&D
because they have,
Oh, they have something
earrings
similar?
that'll do
Earrings
that.
like this.
They're
I see.
like walkie-talkie earrings.
Side note, D&D Beyond just changed the layout for monster stat blocks, so it looks like the stat block in the book, and I like it a lot.
No.
Does it go away after? It goes away after a long rest, though. If you do Tides of Chaos.
Yeah, but if I do Tides of Chaos, then my wild magic gets put into it, and then it may not have the same effect that I'm trying to put into it.
Aww.
So 10.
10. I mean, you feel like the magic is taken due to the gems and innate quality of these earrings, but it doesn't feel like you've put in enough magic that it would be able to manifest the effect you want overnight.
It's cool. I mean, it's a work in progress. It's not like an overnight thing. I'll put it away
Yeah, from
Can I try
Shiel's
to
teaching,
enchant
you
them
know that
all at
enchanting isn't an
once, or
overnight thing.
will I have to do one pair at a time?
I'll say you can work on them all at once. How many are you doing?
I have 4 pairs.
Okay. I will just raise the DC a little bit, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture Thaddeus.
They're Astrid's earrings. Which is the
Oh,
best.
they're like,
yeah.
They're really cool.
They're the ones that I sold, that I had you steal from
Oh,
Astrid. Yeah, I was like,
that's
just steal stuff.
why.
And, yeah.
That
So-
is watch it for a second.
No, I purposely went into the corner, and I'm like sitting with my like facing
But
the
you guys
corner
can
with him in my
already
lap,
talk,
like
though.
casting, because I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing until I
cast a spell on
succeed.
anybody.
I think
Not
that
just
is
me.
would probably
Okay.
be too busy,
Anyway.
like trying to
Yeah.
talk to Dawn and like trying to
Yeah.
like calm her down.
Yeah.
Because she seems
It's-
pretty upset.
There's,
We're just like this.
I mean, roll a
Yeah.
for
Yeah, that's-
just a charisma check.
Okay. 18.
Nice.
18. You get her to calm down to the point. She's still like sullen and upset, obviously. But you get her to calm down, especially like you talk her through the plan over and over and over again, and you get her to accept that things are being done to fix the problem, and so she looks like she seems quite a bit better. Mara, as you and Mandus depart, make a stealth
It was
check.
like buckling,
Oh.
and I was like, oh, I'm gonna fix this before it's a 3-legged
So
table.
Mandus's normal stealth bonus is plus 15,
Plus 25.
plus 10, so plus 25. I rolled a 12. So Mandus rolled a 37.
He's like invisible all the time.
I have a 16 plus 10, 26.
26.
Pretty good.
The two of you sneak down the hallways, and did you roll at advantage?
Mhm.
Okay.
I saw that, yeah.
Sneak quietly down the hallways, and there's a couple times where you run into groups of servants walking back and forth through the halls and things like that. As you get closer to the hallway where you know the secret door is, and approach that area, you sort of slow down a little bit because you know that if you're going to run into someone, this is probably the area. You sort of feel around the wall and find a brick that can be slid to the side. Since you know to look for a secret door there, you're able to find it, but otherwise it would have been nearly impossible. The door slides aside, and Manda sort of takes the lead and heads down the stairway, maybe like 15 feet ahead of you. And it's like a spiral staircase, like I mentioned, that goes down for quite a while.
I thought we went up. That's why I thought it was.
He went
Well,
up
because he
in the
was in
vision.
the far underground,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
went up to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
And eventually you come out into that room where you saw Kuor flipped on the light switch and there was the lines and lines of Warforged. The room is now dark. Does Mara have any way to see in the dark?
Just a lantern.
Just a lantern? So yeah, Mandus at this point sort of takes your hand and is guiding you, since he can see in the dark just fine. And he leads you across the room to another passageway. And why don't you go ahead and roll an investigation check? Mandus is going to roll one as well.
I don't do well on these,
Oh, it was right there.
so it's a 0.
Well,
no,
still-
roll one more. Roll one more.
Advantage.
Advantage.
Okay, I should have rolled the other one. 7.
7, okay.
Oh,
It's negative.
You wander the halls with Mandus for what feels like a long time, but it's probably close to like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Before you start to hear voices from down the hall, and Mandus hears them as well, and sort of looks at you and says, "There's some voices. They're coming this way. What should we do? Duck in this room?" And he like gestures to a side room. Should we go back? What's the plan?
Well, we need to find out information. Let's try to hide and listen.
Okay. So you want to duck into the there's like a door next to you. All right. So you swing open the door quietly, and Mandus kind of like peeks in. And he says, "Looks empty from what I can tell," and makes his way in. And as you close the door and sort of get a little well, actually you can't see because it's dark. But Mandus gets a better look around the room, and he says, "This looks like some kind of alchemical laboratory. I don't know much about alchemy, so I can't tell you what any of these things are. But I think we're safe in here for the time being." And the voices move past. As they go by, you can hear they're speaking in that language that Hunter sometimes speaks, the language of the Elderhaven Reaches. And they walk by, and then all goes quiet again for a second. And Amanda sort of peeks through the door again, sees the coast is clear, and beckons you out. So roll another investigation check.
Ooh, natural 20.
Natural 20,
Natural
minus
20.
2.
17.
Mandus is sort of... You get to the point where there's a lot of different passageways and things like that. And Mandus gets a little bit overwhelmed by the choices, and he's kind of not sure which way to go. But Mara,
Follows the rats.
there's a rat that scurries across your path, and you point at it.
You just start
follow
walking that way.
direction.
That's amazing. Yes.
And you make your
So
way
glad.
down a hallway until it opens up into a wider room. And you can see that this room is lit by torches and things on the walls. But Mandus sort of clings to the shadows as you approach and gets you to do the same. As you come out into this wider room, you can see that there are sort of there are like jail cells with heavy iron bars, and you can see there are a couple bodies. They could be dead, they could be just sleeping. It's really hard to tell. They're just filthy and covered in rags and things like that in some of the cells. But in the two central cells, there are the figures you recognize as Queen Anastasia Elise and King Augustus Jerome, Dawn's parents. They're dressed in similar rags. And it looks like they've fallen asleep with their hands through the bar cells to each other, holding hands.
Oh, they're in separate cells.
Uh-huh.
Aw.
But they're right next to each other, and they've fallen asleep with their hands held, and Anastasia's hand has kind of fallen out of Augustus's hand. But in this room, there are no less than 20 Warforged stationed in various positions around the room, and in the center of the room, standing over, not really standing, but situated over a pile of what looks like random objects, is a creature you recognize as Braxis, the Demi-Beholder. And he's just kind of munching idly on what looks like maybe a teacup.
Cool.
Classic.
And the Warforged are just sort of standing attention at the sides of the room, facing inward towards him. Mandus sort of pulls you back and then whispers, "That's it, we found them, right? That was our job?
Yeah.
We're not here to fight this thing at this point." Okay.
No. But do you see anything before we leave? Do you see anything? Oh, that would be of use.
It's a good perception check. He takes a look around the room and says, "Of use how? What do you have in mind?"
Anything that we can gain advantage of in the surprise attack tomorrow that we need to be ready for.
He looks around the room. Could use to get advantage.
You know, do you see anything out of place or something that might be used to control the Warforged or...
He says, "It looks like one or two of the figures in the cells might be soldiers of some kind. They look, I can tell from the way they're sort of," he like points out that they're sleeping with like their backs to you, and you can see that they've got like the broad shoulders of a well-trained individual. He says maybe if Dawn and the rest can get them weapons and break them out first, they could help in the fight.
Okay. Okay, we better get out and report back.
I think I agree with you on that point. And you sneak back out. Just make one more stealth check with your +10 and also advantage.
There you go.
Mandus rolled 40.
Oh my god.
40.
15
Mandus?
plus 25.
Oh my gosh.
28.
Ridiculous.
28.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
god.
two of you manage to make your way back to the stairway,
Oh,
but
so funny.
as you're getting towards the stairway area, again, you start to hear voices coming this direction, and you're caught out on the catwalk. And Mandus sort of just says, "Trust me." And he leaps off of the catwalk and then grabs onto the edge and then says, "Come down, I'll hold you." And you sort of have to climb down and grab onto Mandus's arm, and he's holding on to you underneath the catwalk, sort of in the shadow of it, as two figures in robes pass above. And then he sort of, once they've passed and their voices have disappeared, he swings the two of you back up, and he lands cat-like. Go ahead and roll an acrobatics check, just to see how you land.
Advantage or not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
advantage.
advantage, yeah. Oh, that was really good.
Still got foresight up.
There you go.
And it was a what?
This one.
Acrobatics. Okay,
Mandus's
so 26.
acrobatics. Ooh, Mandus's
Yeah.
acrobatics was 28. Yours was 26.
So you guys are like
He's like cat-like in a superhero pose.
You guys
and
are-
you're pretty much right next to him.
in like Captain Ginyu.
Yeah. And then the two of you sneak back up without being harassed by any Eyes of the World members. While you were dangling from Mandus's arm, you were like maybe 30 feet above these rows of Warforged that you saw before. And they're just inactive, and you're sort of, it's all you can do to like keep silent. But
Hanging on to Hugh Jackman.
I was thinking of that while we were in the lab. If I should
Make a
climb
move.
Oh boy. Mandus doesn't have that effect on people.
He does.
so you managed to sneak back up to Dawn's chambers, where everyone I figure is probably just sitting in silence, waiting for a report.
Anxiously.
Staring at Yin.
Watching
I'm
the
with
dagger,
my
I
dog.
guess. So actually, you guys would have seen quite a bit of that through the dagger,
Okay,
because
yeah.
Mandus would have like put it
Had
within
it.
a pocket where
Yeah.
it could see.
So we're like,
Yeah, we're like all huddled around, like.
Hunter's like eating popcorn.
We're all like, why is it so dark?
Because your dark vision
Limited
actually wouldn't
television.
work through the dagger.
Right,
so.
right.
It's okay, we can still pretend.
It's cool.
So actually, yeah, most of what you saw up to the point where they came into the lit room with Dawn's parents was darkness.
So Don saw, basically could watch where they were going and stuff. But I would basically say when you guys get back, okay, draw the map for them before you forget it.
That was fun.
Oh, thank goodness! Thank goodness! I knew you guys could do it, but thank goodness.
Yeah, and then Mandus would know that we can't actually hear things
She's
through the
very
dagger too, so then we would want a verbal explanation of what they talked about. So, but like, assuming they didn't leave in any details, like all that defense in that place, like if they're similar to the Warforged that we faced before,
Dawn cracks her knuckles and says, "Don't you worry, we'll be fine."
there's what 11 figures in there. Braxos is one of them.
Yeah, that
You've got to hope that they're going to bring Braxis to their trap.
would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
I-
not to wish misfortune on you.
Oh, we've dealt with him before.
We have
Precisely.
briefly.
So would Dawn have keys to the cells?
I didn't even
Or
know
know
that
where
this
they were.
area beneath the castle existed.
Yeah, I'm
This
sure.
is
But
news
most
to me.
castles have some sort of dungeon. I mean,
That's
Yes,
that was more
this
of a
castle
laboratory,
does have
though.
a dungeon, but it's
That's
not
not it.
behind a secret
Yeah.
door.
yeah.
okay, so the same key wouldn't work probably then. There's some kind of magic that can
Probably not.
open cell doors. How are we going to get
That
it
looks like a
open?
very specific used area.
That's another
Um,
thing we have to figure out for Dawn, how to get the cells open.
Well, they can handle it, right?
Dawn says either there will be a cell key there, or Bree and I will figure something out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you guys have made it this far, right?
I'm curious. I want to use Know Your Enemy on Dawn's party and like get an
Okay.
idea of like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the levels are.
So you can find out their
Total class
levels
levels.
in relation to you, or
Yes.
you get the total.
So it says, if you spend at least 1 minute observing or interacting with another creature outside combat, you can learn certain information about its capabilities compared to your own. The DM tells you if the creature is equal, superior, or inferior in regards to 2 of the following characteristics of your choice, and it lists off about 8 of them. And I want to know their total class levels
So you'll know their class level in relation to yours.
and HP. Well, I mean, you can just say like, oh, actually, I don't care about HP. Just tell me their
Their
in
class
relation to
levels
mine.
in relation to yours are lower.
All of them.
And
Okay.
so basically what that looks like is you can tell that they aren't quite as seasoned fighters as you are.
But do I know that they're like
They're capable.
okay?
Yeah.
So they're like level 3.
You,
They're like...
you know also you would also know that they have like Dawn's muscles look bigger than last time
Yeah.
you faced her. And
They
like
look, yeah, like they.
I'm trying to get like some confidence here. I'm like, okay, well, because I'd be worried if we
they've
fought 10
leveled
more
up several
forces
levels since you met them,
Sure,
but they're
okay.
not at your level.
We don't have like
okay.
a
Are you
sending
thinking of
stone or
going with
anything, do we?
No,
No?
I'm
No.
just trying to make sure that they can handle themselves.
okay.
Yeah.
Thaddeus just says, I have faith in you. I know you can do this.
My god Pelor is a god of the sun and also of life. If my allies are hurt, I will heal them. And if it comes to it, Aramil has some healing spells in his arsenal as well.
They'll be fine.
We'll be
We
okay.
need to worry about ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
We work together well as a team and we'll be fine.
All right.
And she sort of cracks her knuckles and Bree's like, hell yeah we will! They won't know what hit them. Just if you hear loud explosions, it's me.
I'll give Bree like a fist bump.
And if you
Yeah.
same goes. If you hear loud explosions, it's definitely me.
She laughs.
You've seen what I can do.
But the laugh is sort of like cut short by the somber reality that
Yeah.
her best friend's parents are being held captive.
I was gonna say if it's fart noises, it'd be Morin, because that's what he'd like to do.
That's
A
right.
lot of explosions.
What's Marth gonna do
He's
tomorrow?
curled up. Oh, right. Tomorrow? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, he's curled up quiet in a corner. Looks like he's
With
sleeping.
Nasria?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Nasria's here.
They were just curled up in the corner sleeping.
Nasria probably has peed on the carpet at some point. Because she has
That's
a
not a
pouch.
sentence I ever expected to hear RDM say.
Like, this dog has not had a chance to go outside in a
No.
while, so.
It's
You
okay.
can whisk it away.
Yeah, I can prestidigitation.
Not Aramil. Ignatius actually beats you to it.
I was over in the corner enchanting.
Mm.
Alright, well,
So what's our?
I hope we don't die tomorrow.
Or any day. Yeah.
Dawn says, I think it's probably about time we got some rest.
Yeah.
Considering it's
I'm
very
bone
late
tired.
into the hours at this point.
Bone tired.
Okay. I was gonna ask if we had like an actual going in plan for ourselves.
Well, we can play it by ear, but let's pretend like we don't know about the ambush for as long as possible.
What
Okay.
time is the meeting, by the way, tomorrow?
Whenever Ian delivers us, I suppose.
Well,
Oh, I thought
We might be
never
summoned.
did
I
say
asked the
set
servants
time.
to set up a meeting for the morning.
Oh, so morning.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's just sleep, and in the morning we'll walk in there like we're expecting to meet the king and queen,
Mm-hmm.
but be ready to fight. I have a couple of scrolls in here that I've been saving. I have a potion of flying.
Mm-hmm. I was just looking at
Does,
that.
does one of you want to fly tomorrow?
Flying.
You can pretty much fly already with your boots.
Might be useful for Mara.
Do you want to fly?
I'll fly.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the potion of flying. It's good for an hour.
Cool.
I've also got the scroll for Globe of Invulnerability. So if we're gonna be against mages, I can cast it.
Oh, that's very good.
Is
Yeah.
that everybody? Or
It's a
just...
10-foot
Oh, that's
sphere,
great.
so I can cast it somewhere, and as long as you guys stay in it, you'll be safe from spells.
Oh, it's only in one place?
Yeah.
It's not at the point of casting
Right.
and then where it's
It's-
enchanted, sort of?
It's at the point of casting and it stays there. Or it's wherever I can position it somewhere and
Mm,
it'll
that's really
stay
cool.
there
And
I
then
have-
spells of a certain level or lower can't affect anything in there.
in there.
Do we know
So
what
you're-
level that is?
Yeah, it's like level 6 or lower.
Oh, that's pretty
I
nice.
just looked it up.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
If
a very
you-
good spell.
If you
So I can cast
So-
if you
that.
stay in the globe, you can cast spells outside of it and shoot. from
Right,
outside.
and we'll be
So,
safe from spells.
If he is such a powerful spellcaster, would that be a good opportunity
Yin
for him?
speaks up and says, unfortunately, his spells are only part of his strength. And that's where we'll end for tonight.
Okay.
Since we're getting close to
Uh,
the end of our time
We
limit.
still have plenty to do.
Yep.
That's alright.
So, wow, you guys learned a lot, and I wasn't sure. I came prepared to run a really big encounter. But I guess we'll do that next week. Because I wasn't expecting the scrying eye.
Yeah.
That was good.
Thank goodness.
I was gonna lay a trap.
Wait
on
to
you.
level up. That's right.
Yeah, so each of you gets to sleep. You all hit 11, Mara hits 10, which is great. You'll be all ready for a big
Yeah.
fight
Oh
next
boy.
week.
Oh man.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Oh man.
All right. Well,
I'm
good
very
night,
excited.
everyone.
Yep. Thank you to anyone who
Sleep
watched.
well.
That was fun.
It was a very intense episode.
Yeah.
So many
Yeah,
see you
yeah.
next
So many
week.
pros.
moments.
Bye.
Oh, good night.
Good night.